On social media, she went by the name
Made from inside prison. News 12's Karen Pinto was inside the courtroom and joins us with more from Central Islip. Karen.
In court today, they played 2 phone calls between Leniz Escobar and her boyfriend, who was in police custody at the time of these phone calls. Now, both of these phone calls took place on April 12th, 2017, the day after the murders. Escobar seemingly speaks in code, telling her boyfriend Amador that she might be in trouble because 4 people, quote, got on the train, but one escaped. At first, Amador is confused and asks her why she got into this and if she was forced to do something. Escobar says she was not forced to do anything. During the second phone call, Amador asks why one got away when all 5 were, quote, handed on a silver platter. An admitted MS-13 gang member, Sergio Segovia Pineda, also took the stand today. The prosecution asked if Escobar seemed surprised or scared to be there the night of the murders, and he said no. Earlier this week, the sole survivor of the attack said he and his 4 friends were brought to the park by Escobar to smoke pot. When they got there, about a dozen MS-13 gang members killed 4 of them. The defense attorney claims the young woman was never an MS-13 associate and did not help plan the murders. The trial will begin again on Monday and is expected to last several weeks. Live outside the federal courthouse in Central Islip, Karen Pinto.
Right now at 5:30, day 2 of the MS-13 quadruple murder trial on Long Island. Sparks fly in the courtroom today as graphic testimony is given. Good evening, I'm Dick Brennan.
Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Christine Johnson. The sole survivor of the attack took the stand today.
The jury also heard gruesome details from the medical examiner, a detective, and the boyfriend of the defendant. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan reports on a dramatic day in court.
Chilling and emotional testimony continued as the sole survivor of a massacre by the notorious MS-13 gang came face to face with defendant Leniz Escobar, social media handle La Diablita, meaning Little Devil. Escobar's charged in the quadruple 2017 MS-13 machete attack that left 4 young friends bludgeoned to death in a Central Islip park. The survivor, Elmer Alexander Artiga Ruiz, told the jury through an interpreter, La Diablita lured us to a park to smoke marijuana. We were soon ambushed by MS-13 gangsters. 8 or 9 covered their faces with sweaters, told us to get down on our knees. They had weapons, machetes. I jumped on a fence and stone wall, ran for my life. One shouted behind me, "Hack him." Thank God I managed to get away. But the defense tried to poke holes in the testimony. Why was Ruiz spared? Is he MS-13 too? Were the victims members of a rival gang? Why didn't he call 911 immediately? Why did he go home and go to sleep? Prosecutors say the victims were marked for death for posing in social media photos disrespecting MS-13. After the killings, Leniz Escobar allegedly bragged about her role in a phone call recorded by police, telling her boyfriend in code, 4 took the train and saw the light, 1 got away, and she was happy.
Ms. Escobar maintains her innocence. She's pled not guilty, and we have just started what is going to be a 3 or 4 week trial.
Following the funerals of the young men and arrests of other MS-13 in another high-profile murder case of teens Kayla Cuevas and Nisa Mickens, then-President Donald Trump came here to meet with the families, focusing on the government's battle with gangs. This trial highlights the ongoing challenge. From Central Islip, Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News.
Now, the jailed boyfriend of Leniz Escobar is a witness for the prosecution, now testifying he was among a dozen MS-13 members who murdered the victims in cold blood that night, and that Leniz lured them.
Statements in the trial of a woman accused of luring 4 young men to their deaths, allegedly at the hands of MS-13. And the first witness, well, the sole survivor of that brutal attack.
Yeah, News 12's Kevin Vesey was inside the courtroom, joins us live from Central Islip, and some rough stuff there, Kevin.
Yeah, Doug, it was certainly an emotional day in court today. There was chilling testimony from that young man who says he and 4 of his friends were lured into the woods by the young woman who's on trial right now here at the federal courthouse in Central Islip. And according to prosecutors, that young woman was an associate with the MS-13 street gang who helped plan those murders. Her name is Leniz Escobar, but according to prosecutors, she was known as La Diablita, Spanish for Little Devil. And in April of 2017, when she was 17 years old, authorities say she helped the MS-13 gang commit the brutal murders of 4 young men inside a Central Islip park. Today at the federal courthouse in Central Islip, we heard from the sole survivor of the attack, Alexander Ruiz, who's now 22 years old. Ruiz said he and his friends were brought to the park by Escobar to smoke pot. But when they got there, about a dozen MS-13 gang members appeared and ordered everyone onto the ground. Ruiz ran for his life. His 4 friends were murdered. Prosecutors say Ruiz pretended to be part of MS-13 in social media posts, which the gang sees as a sign of disrespect punishable by death. Escobar allegedly showed those posts to gang members, including her boyfriend. According to cell phone records presented in court, Escobar texted Ruiz the night before the murders, writing, "Hey, so what's up for tomorrow?" But defense attorneys claim the young woman was never an MS-13 associate and did not help plan the murders.
Ms. Escobar maintains her innocence. She's pled not guilty, and we have just started what is going to be a 3 or 4 week trial.
Wow, powerful stuff there, Kevin. So she's on trial. What about the alleged gang members who police say committed the murders? What's happening to them?
Right, so Doug, 4 accused members of MS-13 are currently awaiting trial for the killings, and 2 others have already been sentenced to at least 50 years behind bars. As for Escobar, she's being tried as an adult in this case, even though she was 17 when the murders happened.
It's in the MS-13 murder trial on Long Island.
The jury reached a verdict this morning. CBS News' Jennifer McLogan has been following this case and is live in Central Islip with these details. Jennifer.
Mary Chris, good afternoon. A chilling federal trial filled with heart-stopping evidence, photos, gripping testimony, surveillance phone calls, sobs in the courtroom. 4 weeks ago today began jury selection. Now, fewer than 4 hours into deliberations, a unanimous guilty verdict on all counts. La Diablita, or the Little Devil, as she calls herself on social media, 22-year-old Leniz Escobar was standing trial for quadruple murder. The accused MS-13 devoted associate charged with luring victims into a Central Islip park in 2017, where they were killed in a brutal MS-13 machete attack. Prosecutors called 13 witnesses, including several admitted gang members who testified under cooperation agreements, among them Kelly Gomez, a best friend of the defendant, who described how the 2 girls coordinated the killings in order to curry favor within MS-13. Leniz Escobar's boyfriend, whose gang name is Cruel, was a high-ranking member. Why were these victims chosen for slaughter, say prosecutors? Because they posed on social media disrespecting MS-13. A 5th victim testified he escaped that night under a full moon, running for my life, chased by gangsters shouting, "Hack him." In a recorded phone conversation played in court, Leniz Escobar tells her boyfriend in coded language,
4 sujetos ya no están aquí, no sé si van a volver nunca, jamás, ¿me entiendes? Se fueron en el tren anoche, ¿me entiendes? A eso, ¿me entiendes? De la cierta hora, ¿me entiendes? Que vos sabés, uno de ellos no, ¿me entiendes? He knows, so now I'm in trouble.
Relatives and friends came to court to support her.
God is good. God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. Everybody, God bless you.
Her cousin spoke last week.
She was a young girl who had a difficult life, not having a father, not having a mother, being abused physically, mentally. She was a very smart girl who had a bright future.
The horror of the gruesome crime among high school students, more than a dozen are charged in this case as young as age 15, put a national spotlight on Long Island's MS-13 gang violence, prompting the former president to visit Suffolk County.
Stoic is her reaction. She is she took the verdict as well as a person could, I think. You know, she understands the serious consequences for her.
Leniz Escobar faces life in prison. Her defense argued although she was there that night, she did not knowingly and intentionally murder the young men to increase her standing within MS-13. But getting rid of her bloody clothes and incriminating information on her cell phone, apparently too much for the jury to overcome. We're live in Central Islip, Long Island. Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News. Chris and Mary to you.
Jennifer, thank you.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Greenlit Gang TV. Appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Really excited to bring you guys this one today. We're going to be covering a case out of New York. And we're going to be doing a female. I haven't done a female video yet, other than I did one on Griselda Blanco, one of my early ones, but that one didn't do so well, so I don't really count that one. And we're going to be covering a gang that I haven't covered yet. We're going to be covering Mara Salvatrucha, or MS-13, as many of you may know. Really quick, we're going to give a little background on MS-13. They were believed to have be founded as a neighborhood street gang in L.A. in the mid-'80s by immigrants fleeing a civil war in El Salvador. It grew after some members were deported back to El Salvador, who then built up the gang, its numbers, its power, its violence. That's what they're known for. They are known for their extreme violence, helping turn that country into one of the most violent places in the world. From there, the members came back to the United States, spread throughout all sorts of states, all sorts of countries. They are not just a gang. They are a criminal force. They are a criminal enterprise, and they are violent. And we say that about a lot of these gangs. Oh, they're known for violence, and a lot of them are. But, man, MS-13, you just say the name. MS-13 is one of those names. They're like in pop culture almost. They're in our media. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember when Trump was being elected and when he talked about, I mean, even he was talking about him. I mean, they are what people point to when they point to, a lot of people when they point to gang problems, right? And gang violence and immigration issues. That's the one they go to, MS-13. We're going to be covering, like I said, a female, Leniz Escobar, a.k.a. Diablita, called herself that. Really crazy story. Really crazy story. Her and another female lured two men on the presence of basically, we're going to go smoke. We're going to go smoke marijuana in the woods. All right. Escobar, she's an associate of the Leeward Locos Salvatruchas and the Brentwood Locos Salvatruchas cliques. And basically what the prosecution said is she was trying to further her standing with the gang. Her and another girl lured these 5 individuals. So remember, there's 4 victims, but 5 people got lured to the woods in Islip, New York. The victims, Justin Lovicura, Jefferson Villalobos, Michael Lopez Banega, and Jorge Tigre. And I'm sorry how I pronounce those names. One of the only surviving members actually went on to testify. He jumped the fence and he survived. He actually managed to survive. He was able to get away, ran away from like multiple people, and he got away and would ultimately end up testifying in her trial. And he would actually, like I said, so when he goes on to testify, I guarantee you, man, he didn't see his friends get killed, but his name was Elmer Alexander Arteaga Ruiz. He says, quote, "I jumped a fence and Stonewall ran for my life. One shouted behind me, 'Hack him.' Thank God I managed to get away." Now, there was another female. Like I said, there were 2 girls that lured these 5 guys to the woods. Her name was Keely Gomez. But for some reason, not for some reason, you'll see why they focused in on Diablita, Leniz Escobar. And it's because of how she portrayed herself. And you see that in the Snapchat picture I put up. She likes the attention. She likes the thought that she's dangerous. You see some of the pictures I put up as I'm talking. It said that she licked her lips as the men were getting hacked. Keely Gomez testified to that. So a federal superseding indictment came down. Okay. Now, how this all initially came to play was a lot of the guys were saying that Diablita, that Leniz Escobar was calling out her gang, saying these guys are on social media, throwing up gang signs, disrespecting you. Apparently, they thought they were of the rival 18th Street gang, although the victims' families came out and said no, they were never gang members. The one who survived did state that, yes, we would throw up gang signs because we wanted to be cool. We wanted to get girls. And they got some girls. They just got the wrong ones. Now, like I said, they lure them to the woods. Dozens of people were charged with these murders. Okay, just to name a few, 20-year-old Alexis Hernandez of Central Islip, New York, Santos Leonel Ortiz Flores, 19, of Central Islip, New York, and Omar Antonio Villalita, 22, of Central Islip, New York. Enrique Portillo, 20, of Central Islip, New York. Mario Aguilar Lopez, 18, of Brentwood, New York. Jairo Sáenz, 20, of Brentwood, New York. And Jose Suarez, 23, of Central Islip, New York, in connection with the murders. Evidence at trial proved that on the evening of April 11th, 2017, Escobar, also known as Diablita, and a co-conspirator, Kili Gomez, lured 5 young men, including the 4 murder victims, to a park in Central Islip, where they were attacked by those names I mentioned, by members of the MS-13 gang. They believed the members of the group the girls brought to be a rival gang, at least 2 of whom had disrespected by posting photos on social media in which they wore certain items and flashed hand signs that signified membership in the MS-13 gang. So I'm assuming because they thought they're rival gangs and they're throwing up MS signs that maybe that's a sign of disrespect. I was a little confused on that. I'm like, so they think they're rival gangs, but they're throwing up MS signs. I thought, until I read that they thought they were rival gangs, that they were mad that non-MS-13 members were throwing up gang signs and they wanted to punish them. That's what I thought. But now they're, in the court things I read, that no, they thought they were rivals. Escobar and Gomez showed the gang-related photos to members of the MS-13 who confirmed the young men did not belong to the MS-13. See, that's what I'm saying. So they must have thought, okay, well, they don't belong with us, so they must be rivals. And it was decided that the victims would be killed. Gomez testified at the trial that she and Escobar drove with the victims to the park, led them to a predetermined wooded area, and sent the MS-13 members text messages notifying them of their arrival. The MS-13 members and associates proceeded to the designated location and encircled the victims under the cover of darkness. One of the intended victims immediately fled and was able to escape, which I'm like, man, excuse me, you are so lucky. And that's what it would take. You're going to have about a 5-second window to make a decision, right? Like that flight or fight instinct, right? You're going to stay down on your knees and beg, or you're going to get up and take a shot. Most of us would like to say, I'd run. You're going to have to kill me, but until you're in that position, you don't know what you're going to do. These guys were young. All these guys are young. Even the ones that committed these murders, everybody's young. After the attack, the MS-13 members dragged the victims' bodies to a more secluded spot in the woods, piled them up, and then fled. The victims' bodies were discovered the following evening. In the days following the murders, Escobar bragged to other MS-13 members about her role in the killings, and in recorded calls, and remember that's important, okay? This is why she got so much attention. Recorded calls with her boyfriend, who was a high-ranking member of the Brentwood clique, discussed the attack in detail. Using barely coded language and referring to the victims who were killed, she said, 4 individuals took the train, and who knows when they'll be back. Got me? ? Escobar then shared how that plan went awry when one person escaped, adding, but one of them managed to still be here on the map, and he knows stuff about me. In a separate call, Escobar told her boyfriend that she was happy for this to happen. Of the 4 victims, she said they were never coming back. Somewhere else, seeing the light, no more. Out of here, not on the map. Never, so quote, never coming back. Somewhere else, seeing the light, no more. Out of here, not on the map. Now, this is where she also looks very, 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 very guilty. I mean, the phone calls are enough for most people, but just in case that wasn't enough. Additionally, Escobar destroyed evidence of her involvement in the murders by disposing of a sweatshirt stained with blood of a victim, tossing her cell phone from a moving vehicle when she was being followed by the police, and falsely telling detectives that she and Gomez were victims of a random robbery in the park on the night of the murders. Gomez pleaded guilty. This is Kylie Gomez, the other girl that was with, or Keely, however you want to say it, that was with Leniz Escobar, who was with her that night. She pleaded guilty to racketeering charges in connection with the murders and is awaiting sentencing. So obviously they picked her to be the one to flip, and she's going to be the one to get the lighter sentence. According to the allegations in the government's detention letter, when the female MS-13 associates arrived at the park, they led the victims to a wooded area, let them know, okay? They got attacked. I mean, they move in the body to secluded scenes. They found the police found the bodies a day later. Now, this is where we get a little more in depth on the actual details. And when these details came out in court, her little name, Diablita, or Little Devil, it really fit. And this is why the reason I chose this story is because there's so much news. So when stuff all comes together like this is what makes for a good news story. It came out in court that Little Devil smiled as MS-13 gang members hacked 4 men to death with machetes and, quote, even licked the blood off her lips during the massacre. Prosecutors said Wednesday in closing arguments at her murder trial, Leniz Diablita Escobar lured the men to their deaths in a local park, convincing the notorious vicious gang that the victims had mocked them by using MS-13 symbols, prosecutors Justina Garcia said in federal court in Central Islip. You heard MS-13 gang member David Gaitan Rivera's testimony. Garcia told the jury of 2017 saying he told you how one of the victims had reached for Escobar before he was killed and his blood had gotten all over her shirt. He told you how she licked the blood off her lips. Now, I couldn't verify the name on the phone call, but David Gaitan Rivera, I believe, is Escobar's boyfriend because they got him to testify as well, which is interesting. He's a high-ranking MS member. He's already doing time. I'm not sure what his original sentence was, but I would love to know what he benefited by testifying. I don't know, But yeah, going back to the other witness, Keely Gomez, her friend, had testified how she and the defendant had crouched down, get this, quote, they had crouched down by the victims and watched as they were killed, not screaming or crying while the victims were macheted to death, and how just before victim Michael Lopez was hacked to death, how she smiled. Diablita had smiled. Escobar continued to smile and joke around with her defense team during the prosecutor's chilling summation. She wore her hair in a ponytail and had bright chrome piercings protruding from her cheeks. So the little dermal piercings that you see girls have. Not my favorite, not my type, but hey, works for some people. Prosecutors say Lopez, 20, and 3 pals. I mean, I give you the ages of these victims. Lopez, 20, 3 pals, Justin Livicura, 16, Jorge Tigre, 18, and Jefferson Villalobos, 18, were executed by MS-13. Jesus, posting photos online. Just sad. Very sad. So to give you, she really did, when I read, she's the one that really, when she saw these guys posting online, she's the one that really called for hey, we need to do something about this. Quote, Alex was a poser, and that's why he was marked for death, prosecutor Garasari said of Ruiz. He thought this stuff would attract girls, and it did, but not the way he had hoped. God, isn't that the understatement of the year? Talking about attracting girls. Yeah, you definitely attracted some girls. Others testifying in the trial included Escobar's boyfriend on MS-13 gang member who said his then 17-year-old girlfriend told the gang they were being overrun by chivales, rivals, and they had no balls, no huevos. Garasari said. Prosecutors also presented recorded phone calls Escobar with her boyfriend, calling them devastating to her claim that she was innocent. She was telling her boyfriend exactly what happened. Assistant U.S. Attorney Paul Scott Torjors. She told him she killed those 4 young men and she was happy about it. She was happy, end quote. Escobar's lawyers have claimed at the trial that she did not know the victims would be attacked. I get you got to have a defense. You got to, this is America. I love our justice system because it does allow you to present a and everybody has the right to go to trial. But man, that's so much evidence During his closing argument, defense attorney Jesse Siegel said his client wasn't an MS-13 member or associates. She only dated one of the gangsters. Not every girlfriend is an associate, Siegel told jurors. Her boyfriend was a homeboy. She was there. She certainly didn't prevent it from happening, he said. The issue is if she knew something was going to happen. Siegel then stumbled. He messed up. He told the jury, "You should find her guilty." Excuse me, you should find her not guilty, end quote. Outside the courthouse, Siegel said the jury, which is due to start deliberations Thursday morning, should ignore the claims of gang members who cut deals to testify against Escobar. So the claim that snitches, you can't trust them, jailhouse snitch is going to say or do anything to get less time, which is true in some cases. I absolutely agree with that. I would not trust snitches. In this case, though, forget anybody testifying against her. Look at the phone calls. Look at what her friend said the night she was with her. Even though the friend is getting a lighter deal, there's just too much that aligns with what multiple people are saying. And you just, no matter what, if I'm a prosecutor, you just can always fall back on that. You can always fall back on, look at what she said with her boyfriend, trying to use coded language and trying to use it not well at all. So there you have it. Thank God for the one getting away. Leniz, Diablita, Escobar. She was found guilty. She's going to do it a long, long time. Yeah, just absolutely insane. And I know a lot of you are probably like, well, God, what was her sentence? What was her sentence? As of March 8th, I read an article that talks about how she faces up to life in prison when she is sentenced. So she has not been sentenced yet. I have a feeling she's going to get life. I'm surprised she hasn't gotten, I'm surprised she wasn't facing like a death penalty for the stuff she did. So it also said that she was seeking a new trial, which is expected. You have your appeals, you have rights to do that, which is good. Again, the justice system is set up in a way to where if somebody's wrongly convicted, don't get me wrong, the justice system is not perfect in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not defending it. I don't want to take too strong of a side. But you see these documentaries that come out, you see these things on TV where people win appeals, where they're wrongly convicted. I will say this, I do not believe this is a case of somebody being wrongly convicted. I believe Leniz Escobar is as guilty as all get out, and I think she's got what's coming to her. And RIP to the 4 victims. That's a horrible, horrible way to get murdered. Just imagine, I used to do all kinds of stuff when I was 17, 18, and you wanted to hang out with girls, and I would go on smoke drives with girls and hang out with girls, and I couldn't imagine having one lure me to be murdered. I just really put yourself in that position. You're just with your buddies, you're posting stuff online, you're thinking it's innocent, you don't think anybody cares what you're doing. Like, who are you? You're a nobody. Why does somebody care? And one of the world's most dangerous gang has people in the same community as you that are planning to kill you. So yeah, anyway, there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching it. Until next time, peace.